How does your underwriting, how has it changed in the last few years? And when you're communicating with investors, if you're looking at deals now, the typically the returns are different because of the debt is so much higher that it's hard to cash flow anywhere near the projected returns that people were projecting, 2 years ago. So how has that changed, and how do you communicate that to investors?
Yeah, and part of this is adjusting our underwriting to be more
Mm,
realistic of what the marketplace is currently demanding. So a couple of things we've done, we were always conservative with things like rent growth. So in Arizona, if you've read the news in Arizona during COVID, we experienced 20 to 30% rent growth year over
yep.
year. It was nuts, but we never underwrote for that, right? It was always the 2 to 4% depending on that submarket.
Yep.
So that still holds true. We actually put 0% rent growth in year one. We just
Mm,
don't know. We don't
yeah.
want to, we just, you never know in that first year, especially when you're stabilizing the property. Our expenses, we've bumped that increase up. Before it was 3%. Now it's depending on what that expense is, it might be 4 to 5%
Mm,
year over year growth. So little things that we tweak here and there. Cap rate when we sell the property. I'll call it the rule of thumb before was, 10 basis point increase for every year that you plan on holding that.
right.
Well, no, that I don't think that's true anymore. It's what is your business plan and how will that impact what the cap rate will be when you sell the property?
Yep.
And then the second piece of this is just educating the investor. So 5 years ago, it was very normal to get 8 to 10% cash on cash returns. That is not the case anymore, right?
Yep.
15 to 18% IRR. These days, it's more like 6 to 8% cash on cash return.
Yep.
Maybe it's 13 to 15% IRR. So you just have to help manage your investor expectations so that they're not surprised. And those are the numbers that if you truly think you can hit those are what we share. We don't
Yeah.
overinflate it or try to overpromise anything.
And are you kind of actively looking at deals now? I mean, we're recording this on Halloween, in 2023. So still in this very high interest rate market. The market is pretty scary right now.
Yep.
So how, like, are you still actively looking at deals?
Yes, we are always looking at deals. This was a slow year. We are just purchasing our first two properties of the year right now,
Mm,
right? Last year we bought quite a handful. This year we were on the sidelines, we were patient, but we were still always looking at underwriting deals. And, everyone, and I'm sure has heard this, there's probably going to be an onslaught of deals coming in early next year.
yep.
And so we want to be ready for that. We're prepping the capital, we're getting our systems and processes fine tuned so that we are ready to buy the best deals. But I don't think when people say their pencils down, I don't know if that's necessarily a really good strategy. It takes you out of the pulse, takes you out
Yeah.
of the market. So we are still talking to brokers. Trust me, they have more time right now than they
Yeah.
did in the few years past. So continue to build those relationships is what we're doing. And so that we're always top of mind for the
Yeah,
best deals that come
brokers actually have to work now. 2 years ago they just sent an
right.
email out and 30 offers came in sight
Yeah,
unseen almost. And yeah,
exactly.
they actually have to work for their commission as opposed to
Right.
just sending out a deal. So, and you're solely focused still on Arizona, or have you started to kind of think about other markets?
Right now, it's still Arizona. We have strong teams, relationships, processes, vendors, partners, all that there. Could we expand over time? Possibly. We do have one property in the DFW area,
Mm,
but I think there is power in focus versus trying to spread. We are the lead sponsors, right? And so we need to make sure we're the expert in that
yeah.
market. If you start to just do this too quickly or too often, then you're now relying on other people to be boots on the ground, or you're relying on other people to know that marketplace, and that's not the position we take.